Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the new bait from Dynamite, the Crave. I'm sure a lot of you won't be surprised to learn that it's another fish meal. I'm a real lover of fish meal based baits. So starting off with the base mix, there's two different fish meals gone into that, the sardine and the tuna meal. Both very pungent, very oily, top fish meals. As well as the actual fish meals, we've got a couple of different bird foods in there, both from Hearn. I think all the best bird foods come from Hearn. I've used a lot of them over the years, but these are my two favourites, and that's Nectar Blend and Red Factor. And of course, there's a splash of Robin Red in there as well. We haven't gone too high on the Robin Red. There's probably about a third of the amount of Robin Red in there to what we would normally use in the sauce. You'll notice that the sauce is a lot darker, a lot richer in colour. I don't know, just lately I tended to go for less Robin Red in a lot of the baits I've been playing around with. So that's the base mix, just on its own. I'm sure you could use that with eggs and nothing else and it'd work really, really well. Right, attractor wise, I'll start off with the two I'm not even meant to be talking about, but we've got two, and they put on the bottom, secret flavours. I know what they are, obviously, but all I can say is they're fish-based ones. They're very fishy to smell. I wish I could say more, do you know what I mean? They're really, really good flavours, these, but I'm not allowed to. But two good flavours, real proven ones. One of them I've actually used for quite a few years, on and off, and the other one's a new one, but very good flavours. Okay, so that's the two flavours. Next, and probably my favourite attractor out of all of the ones that are going into the bait, this is a salmon and shrimp paste. And I'll tell you what, it's something else. A little bit of toast, bit of black pepper, that'll go down the treat, I reckon. I prefer this over green-lit mussel. We use green-lit mussel in a lot of the baits, a lot of the fish meal based baits, but in more recent times I've preferred this, and I quite regularly make up my own glug with this with a little bit of sea salt, bit of water, and splash it over the baits afterwards. Lovely. And lastly, we're not over-complicating this bait too much, by the way. You know, it's got a couple of flavours. It's got that salmon and shrimp paste, and this one, which I'm sure all of you know, and it's salmon oil. Very, very, it's a pungent one as well. Very effective in the spring and summer, and the autumn time. I'm sure you all know about oils, how attractive they are to carp. Now, size-wise, the bait's being done in the shelf lives. They're doing them in 10 mils, which is really nice to see. It's good that Dynamite's still doing 10 millers. I know a lot of companies don't do 10s. I love 10s for carp fishing, and also I like using them for barbel fishing as well. And I'm imagining this bait is going to be very good for barbel. So you've got them in 10s, 15s and 20s. That's in the shelf lives. And I'll tell you another thing about Dynamite shelf lives is their texture. I mean, you just wouldn't know the difference between that and a freezer bait. It's lovely. Crumbly, absolutely perfect. And I'm finding myself using shelf lives a lot more nowadays, especially on the Thames where I'm going through large quantities over a short space of time. Okay, so like I say, in the shelf lives, you've got them in 10 mils, 15 mils and 20 mils. And in the freezer range, they're going to be doing them in the 15s and also 18s. I believe 18s are a new addition to Dynamite. They haven't done them in past years, but 18s are one of my favourite size baits, and I've been on and on at them for a long time to do them in this size. Obviously, if you're fishing a little bit further, 20s I find a little bit big for a lot of my fishing. But if you are fishing a bit further out, it is nice to have a slightly bigger bait, and I find that halfway between 15 and 20s is about right for me. So there you go. There's the freezer baits in 18s, and you can see the texture is exactly the same. Their shelf lives really are amazing. You can barely tell any difference between the shelf lives and freezer lives. Right, so that's sizes of baits covered and the attractors, what's actually going into it. Pop-up wise, obviously you've got your normal food type pop-ups. These are made with the same base mix, obviously some cork dust and what have you, some more buoyant ingredients to make them pop up. But they're about as close as you're going to get to the actual colour. I prefer them to be slightly washed out so they look like they've been in the water a little while, and I find that more productive. They've actually been made to a very similar recipe and certainly to the same buoyancy as what the sauce cork dust pop-ups are. And out of all of the Dynamite pop-ups I've used, I've done well on all of them, but the sauce ones I found particularly effective. And I don't think it's just because of the attractors. I've often found that no matter what bait I've been using out of the Dynamite range, I nearly always fish the sauce cork dust pop-ups over the top, even if I have to add different flavours to them. I just find them very, very effective. And these ones have been made to that same recipe. Super buoyant, especially for their size. You'll be able to use those on hinge stiff links and chod rigs, snowmans, whatever. They're ideal. Not a lot of pop-ups just aren't buoyant enough. These are perfect. So those are the food type ones. And also, we've done them in a fluoro pink, but not too bright. You know, they're like a washed out pink. And I've done very, very well on that particular colour pink, especially later on in the year when it gets to sort of winter time. The carp's eyesight isn't anywhere near as effective as what it is in the spring and summer. So, and we've done those in 2 different sizes. You've got them in 12mm and you've also got them in 15mm, and also they're doing them in a monster size there. I imagine these would be more suited to abroad. Then again, what do I know? Maybe a lot of people do use baits that sort of size in this country, but I know abroad, I imagine they'd be very successful. The smaller ones, very effective for snowmans. I've already done very well using those on the River Thames. 12mm with an 18mm boilie underneath it. Okay, so that's the pop-ups. Like I say, the fluoro ones are available in 12mm and also 15mm, and some real monster ones in 20mm. And the food bait ones are available in 15mm and 20mm. So that's the pop-ups covered. And lastly, we've got 2 different glugs, or dips if you like. The actual hook bait dip is designed, it's got a wider top on, so you can basically dip your rig in, the whole rig goes in, and the actual liquid's a lot thicker, so it's more gloopy if you like, and it clings to the side of the boilies. And as well as the hook bait dip, you've got the liquid attractant, and this is thinner. Still that lovely salty fishy taste, but that's designed more for using in stick mixes and ground baits, spod mixes and what have you. So 2 different liquid attractants. One of them's thinner, better to go in stick mixes and what have you. The other one's more of a hook bait dip, so you can actually dunk your whole rig into it, complete with the bait on boilie, whatever you're going to be using. Both lovely. So there you go, that's the new bait for you. I had a lot of success while testing it, especially this spring just gone. One particular pit, an 80-odd acre pit in Oxfordshire, very low stock of carp, not easy fishing at all, but I baited up just twice, dropped in for 3 nights fishing and managed to catch both the biggest fish in the lake, 43 common and a 36 fully scaled, so worked very well for me. Hopefully you'll have just as much luck with it. Be lucky, yeah?